All right, guys. Today we're going to look at the scariest lesson in grade 9 academic math. We are going to look at algebra, we're going to look at fractions, and then of course we've got the underlying integers and order of operations in there. So it doesn't get much scarier than this. But you know what? I'm hoping that you're comfortable with the algebra by now and that the method I'm going to teach you for fractions is going to work in every scenario because the first thing we do is get rid of the fractions. So hopefully that makes your life a little easier. Now, there is no new material here. The game plan is what the game plan always has been. Expand and collect like terms where you need to, get all the variables on one side, get all the numbers on the other side, and then solve for a positive variable in the end. Now, what has changed is that now there are fractions in the questions. The examples thus far have been cherry-picked to make sure that there have been no fractions, which I'm sure you've all appreciated. Now, whatever rules that you have learned previously still apply. With me, we have covered how to add and subtract fractions, common denominator. We reviewed how to multiply fractions, multiply the tops together, multiply the bottoms together, and how to divide. Flip the second fraction and then multiply them. You are still able to use them. If you know how, you are still welcome to use them. There are other fraction skills that we haven't really covered or reviewed here that can be used as well. And if you know them, if you remember them, you are welcome to use them. However, we're not going to spend the time reviewing them here because, quite frankly, this lesson is going to be long enough without getting into that. Last semester, I tried teaching different techniques to handle different situations. And there's nothing wrong with what I did, except that it was too much for kids on a topic that they weren't comfortable with. So this year, I want to try teaching one method that will handle every situation so that even if you're not comfortable with fractions, you can still do this. And as I said earlier, the first step is to make the fractions go bye-bye. We don't want to see the fractions. We don't like fractions. We don't want to deal with the fractions. So let's make them go bye-bye. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Let's revisit one of my previous hints, where I suggested that it was always best to deal with the addition subtraction when you're working with algebra. In this scenario, it's not going to work as well. We're going to look at where you can use it without thinking about it, but most of the time, if you see a fraction, you're going to have to use this new approach that we're going to get into right now. Oh, sorry, I guess we're not. First, fractions are sneaky. Part of the reason people don't like it is that they have different ways of being written, and people don't like them all. So for instance, the 2/3 x or 2x divided by 3 or 2x divided by 3, they all mean the same thing. Okay? They're all written out in different ways, but they all mean the same thing. Likewise, the -2 divided by 3, the 2 divided by -3, or the -2/3 all mean the same thing. So what you have to do is recognize the different fractions. Now, the confusing part is that, yeah, it's written out in different ways. The nice part about it is if I don't like the first one, but I'm okay with this third one, if I can convert it, if I know how to switch it around, then I can change the fractions into a format that makes sense to me. And while it's still a fraction, I'm a little happier than I was a minute ago. Whatever you can do, right? Now, the secret to dealing with fractions is to make them stop being a fraction. And how we do that is by multiplying it by the denominators. Now, you have to be careful about the signs. We will, not with this question, but the next question, we'll start dealing with what's going on in just why sides are important. But here, the old way, we look at the question, we go, well, it's x divided by 2, right? We would think of it like this. So we would turn around and multiply it by 2. And that's what we're used to. That's what we're comfortable with. What I would like you to do is treat it as though it's a giant thing. Um, our denominator is 2. So we're going to multiply the entire equation by 2, right? We're taking our denominator and we're multiplying everything by the denominator. So when we expand, just like we did last chapter, try to get in the habit of thinking of it like this. And the advantage to it is that, hey, look at that. I can just cross those things out. I'm left with 1x equals 8, and I don't even have to have that 1 there. I could just write it as x equals 8. The old way. Hey, let's deal with the add and subtract first, in which case we have 2/3 of x plus 5 minus 5 equals 1 minus 5. Notice I'm altering how it's written in here. It really doesn't make a difference, and there's no reason why I switched it. I just did. My apologies if this is messing you guys up. I'm going to choose to look at the division first. I've got x divided by 3. So I'm going to divide or multiply both sides by 3. It really doesn't like my x's. Since I'm multiplying by 2, I'm going to divide both sides by 2, which leaves me with a -6 in the end. All right, my new way, so we multiply everything by 3. And here's where that side thing comes important. Notice, I am multiplying the 5 by 3, even though it's not being divided by 3. Okay, whatever we do to one side, we do to the other side, hence the wording. Now, the whole reason we multiplied by 3 was so that the 3 would cancel out, but it doesn't do anything to the 2. The 2 just stays there. So we rewrite it out. And now we're back into happy land because we've seen these questions before, and we should hopefully be comfortable with them at this point. Get the same answer as the other side, so life is good. We did it. Slightly different scenario, but the same thing. We have 2/3, so our only denominator is a third. Now notice the 3 gets multiplied once. It's not 3 times 2/3 and 3 times x minus 4. It's 3 times 2/3 times x minus 4. The 3's cancel out. I'm left with 2x minus 4 equals 6. And now I can expand. Minus 8. Okay. I know. Lots. Again, only one denominator, so we're going to multiply everything by 2. Twos cancel out. We're left with 3t plus 4 equals 10. I wonder why my 4 wrote all goofy like that. Disadvantage, I'm writing with a rubber tip pen, and I think it's just flexing too much sometimes. But the fractions aren't so bad to deal with. So now here we're dealing with two fractions, and unfortunately they're not similar ones. So going back to elementary, when they were looking for the lowest common multiple, in this case, the smallest number that both 8 and 3 go into is 24. So just like every other time, we're going to multiply both sides by 24. Now you don't necessarily have to rewrite it out. I just did so it's a little easier to see. 24 divided by 8 leaves us with a 3. So, and again, you don't have to rewrite this out as long as it's on there. The 24 divided by 3 leaves us with -3, my apologies, leaves us with the -8. And once again, what looked like a fairly complicated question really isn't that bad. Uh, do, do, do. All right. Almost there. One more scary page. All right, last scenario. This is the scariest question that you're going to see as far as algebra and fractions go. So if you can handle this, then hats off to you. Same logic. The lowest common multiple is 12. Notice that my plus 2 is included inside the bracket, so it will also get multiplied by 12. Okay, and same logic, we're going to simplify. Um, going to simplify. And you're not required to rewrite this out. Again, I am just to make sure you guys at home can read all this. Which is also why I'm going to rewrite out the PDF, because even I can see some of this is a little on the messy side. What did I get last time? Plus 10 minus 10. Oh, and that should be, man, I'm not doing so well here. I'm moving the 30 over, even if I'm not. Plus 30 minus 30, so that's minus 6. 54. Okay, so a little bit more complicated, definitely easier to make a mistake, as I nicely demonstrated, but still very doable. Okay, guys, give me a call, give me an email if you need any help with this stuff. I know it's not your favorite topic. Give it a try anyways, because I guarantee you there will be tests like this on the quiz, on the assignment, on the test, and good luck with it all.